Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon or good morning, whichever time zone you're dialing in. Well, thank you for taking time and joining our To the Point series, talking about the pros and cons of 11 plus. My name is Nimit Shishodia. I'm just a parent like you who've been through the journey. Call it good or bad, we have all our pros and cons to it. And today we came together to discuss about it's good, it's bad, and hear from various aspects of 11 plus from different um, type of people who've been through the journey, who are orchestrating the journey, who are teaching the journey, and all. So just to start with, um, the event is organized by Swam Foundation. And how did it all started? Back in COVID, 15 guys came together, did a 100-kilometer bike ride, raised around 10,000 pounds of funds to help the COVID victims in India. And that's where it all started. And since then, we've been doing non-profit events, supporting the community in various aspects, as shown here. Right now, SOM is focusing more on the next generation, which is 360 development of the kids, being it body, mind, and spirit. And this is one of the first series we have launched this year to support the excruciating journey of 11 plus. Now, without any further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists today, who will be talking the various aspects from the psychological, educational, institutional, political as well, and government wise, looking at a 360 view around what does 11 plus means to us. So we have Mike Swadling, who's been a political activist and also a school governor. We have Mrs. Tapti Patel, who is president from Hindu Forum of Britain, and she's actually voice of Hindus in the House of Lords and in the House of Commons. We have Gauri Somanathan, who is a founder of Academic Gym. She is a tutor. We have Abhiyogi, who is a founder of Sanatan Sanstha UK and a scholar who actually preaches out around certain areas, the goods of the Sanatan to the younger generation. We have Mr. Tushar Gupta, who is a proud parent of two kids who successfully, he single-handedly actually get into the grammar school, so to share his journey. We have Bindu Bundaplu, who's a mental health specialist, especially focusing on 11 plus to guide parents as well as kids just to support this excruciating journey. And finally, we have Hitesh Gupta, who is a governor of Herschel Grammar School in Slough, and also a co-founder and director of ID UK, Indian Diaspora UK Group, based out in Slough. So hopefully we'll have very insightful evening today. It's very, as we call it, to the point. There's no, fluff around. We're gonna get straight to the point. The agenda would be visible on the screen after when the panelists have finished their pitches. Then we'll have question and answer round. Now, when you were registering, we actually opened the registration form itself. We have around 200 queries with us, pretty much similar type. So we have abstracted those questions, and we're gonna go through those questions first, and then we'll open the question as in the chat window. So you can always put your question through. If time allows, we can cover all the questions. Plus, be mindful that when I introduce every single panelist or speaker, their contact details will be on the slides. So make a note of it, take a screenshot, whatever, so that you can be in touch with them for any further information. They'll be happy to help and support you. Remember, there's no commercial. We're just parents like you. We're just trying to help each other because as per my personal journey, I found that there's a lot of misinformation, there's lack of information, there's confusion, there's dilemma, and pain. So I think pain get lessons when we share it. So to move on, I would like to invite our first speaker, Mr. Michael Swadling, who is a governor for a state school, and he has been doing this for the last 17 years, especially focusing on the special needs school. He has been politically, locally, and in the national referenda. So, Mr. Mike, over to you.
Hello, well, thank you all for joining. Just wanted to do a bit of scene setting, really. Anyway, move on a slide. Yeah, just a bit of sort of background and to state a really obvious point that parents will do a lot for their children. 100,000 children set the 11 plus for 15,000 places. That's a hard slog to get there. They say a quarter of UK parents have moved house to get the right catchment area for their children. That's a huge commitment to move house to make that change just for a school. Um, Sutton has a huge number of Hong Kongese parents and families moving in. I know you may not all be from that area, but I suspect many of you are. And I know there's obviously a large Indian audience here, but that's people that have moved across the world and are focusing on a particular area and are focusing on that area to get the schools, and that's that commitment. And then lastly, a comment about the cost of private schools, 15,000 average per pupil. Now, yes, some of those people are wealthy and they can afford it, but a lot of people struggle to put their kids through private schools. I'm sure you're aware. Parents do a huge amount for children, and if it isn't the 11 plus, they're doing it in other areas. I note the slide there is an article from China. People in China making exactly the same point. Being involved in special schools, I see a lot of parents really reaching out for their children, trying to get the best for them, not always actually capable of getting it. It's very specialist knowledge needed. And I've seen quite a few pupils expelled because their parents were trying to do the best for them and maybe not actually achieving it. So my point being, very obvious point, that parents will obviously do their best for their kids. If you feel like you're putting them under pressure, don't feel too bad. That's what everyone kind of does. Nimit, would you mind?
Yeah, just say next and I'll go next. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Really? Thank you. And then, so just ask a bit about the alternatives to 11 plus for all the challenges it may bring. I think there's a bit of a be careful what you wish for. GCSEs, what if you don't have an exam, do you have some sort of ongoing assessment? Well, I was one of the first people to do GCSEs, the first years. That was all about moving to coursework. Well, that's been phased out because people can get it online. We now have ChatGPT. You can't really do ongoing assessment with great ease. You can have some teacher assessment, but if you look at the chart on that page, 2 years of teacher assessment produces a very different set of results from exams. Is that, you've got to ask the question, is that really fair? There's a couple of quotes there. I particularly like the one, sadly, people saying, did I actually earn this when a teacher assesses them? So and the third option is if you don't have pupils going into grammar schools and you don't have 11 plus type models, you're talking about private education. And that really is focused only the people that can most afford it, not necessarily the most academically gifted. So my point there is just want to make a point to say, look, this system may have its faults, but I'm not sure what the great choices are. And Nimit, I'll finish up there.
Thank you, Mike. Very insightful, very good data. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to invite our next speaker, Mrs. Tapti Patel. She's a well-known face among the Indian diaspora. And there are not much words to explain her. She's going to talk about respect, respect as in not the full word, but there is this acronym, and I'll let Trapti ji to talk about it. So Trapti ji, over to you. If you can unmute yourself, please.
Namaste, everyone. Namaste. Thank you very much, Nimit. This 11 plus exam and what the parents have to go through, what the teachers have to go through, and what we went through. Coming from Sardar Patel University in Bharat, in India, I know exactly what kind of pressures there are for the students, for the parents, and you can appreciate that a large population where you are competing for high schools, for universities later on. So each parent wants their children to do well. And in that whole process, what government officers, what the policymakers actually forget is that these are the people. They're not tiny people. These are the young minds that are going to grow up and run the society, run the world. And if we instill in them from very young age, education is all about, as we say in Hinduism, Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha means the whole world should be happy. How can we be all happy if we don't have this open-mindedness? And if you all look at the slides and read it, regurgitate it, and you will see and you will appreciate later on. And how I have put the whole new meaning of E equal to MC square. And this is, if we teach children exactly these, if we instill in them at 11 plus that besides doing your exams, this is also absolutely necessary. And you imagine that the problems that we are facing in the world would not, at the moment politically, we would not face them. So please, all children, all parents, when you are talking to your children about these 11 plus exams, yes, it's a stress about 11 plus exams. But where I come from, we used to have exams every year. We used to have a coursework every year. But besides that, also another trait that I want all parents to understand and teach is teach your children sports, music, dance, yoga, any art activity, paintings, because what happens is that when you are studying for exams, and if you've covered certain subjects, you are good at it, and certain subjects maybe you are not good at it. So when you are artistic, when you channel your children's mind into some activities, then it complements each other. And this is 100% I'll advocate everybody to follow. And please, everyone, I think, try to be open-minded all the time, regardless of person's color, person's faith, person's creed, so that we respect each other. And the children from very young age in the school playground, we know that they can be very innocently bullying, innocently saying things because they don't understand. This is what I'm advocating for. Namaste.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Much appreciated. Okay, let's move to our next panelist, Gauri Swaminathan, who's apparently running 11 plus academic gym. So without any further ado, Gauri, over to you.
Thank you, Nimit. Hi, everyone. So today I'm going to look at the private schools versus grammar schools and then demystify some of the differences. The main types of secondary schools are comprehensive schools, and we also have the grammar schools and private schools, which are also called independent schools, or as some people refer to them as public schools. The agenda for today is the key features and main differences between a grammar and private schools. And also in terms of the admissions process, we're going to look at the process differences. Next slide, please, Nimit. Thanks. What I always tell to parents is just look at what is right for your child. Look at their personality, what their interests are, whether they're academically focused or whether they also like extracurriculars. And once you've done that, then in terms of the differences, the grammar schools, catchments apply to some of them, and in fact, most of them, but there are some grammar schools which don't have catchments too. And for independent schools, we do not have catchments. Grammar schools are free, whereas independent schools are fee-paying, but they are all inclusive. The grammar schools are selective for extracurricular, so you really need to be top-notch to be able to have opportunities to do various activities, whereas for independent schools, the extracurriculars are all included, and there are normally about 50 plus clubs to choose from. In terms of pastoral care and parents who have children in both schools, the pastoral care in independent school is unparalleled, with a lot of focus on the child and their needs. Facilities wise, yes, grammar schools do have main facilities, but in the independent schools, they're regularly upgraded. Class sizes are approximately 25 to 30 in a grammar school, whereas in an independent school, they're much smaller, on average 15 to 22 children in a class. Aptitude for test for skills in terms of even the 11 plus process, they do have, like some schools have football, tests and so on. And independent schools, they have scholarships, and they also have bursaries, which are actually income tested based on parents' household income. And the core subjects on offer are available in the grammar schools, whereas independent schools have a few more options, and also they cover different exam boards like IGCSE, Edexcel, AQA, and so on. Next slide, please. In terms of the admission process, what are the entry points? So in the grammar schools, you mainly have the 11+ entry. Few spaces become available even at year 8 or year 9, so even after 11+. They also have the 16+ entry, which not all parents are aware of. And this is based on the GCSE results. And if some parents arrive from abroad or halfway through the process, then they can still be asked to be considered and ask and also mention that their child is of selective ability. For independent schools, the main entry points are 7+ and also 11+. They have 13+ mainly for boys, because a lot of the prep schools have up to year 8. Then they also have the 16+ entry, and also take in at various other points based on availability and parents coming from abroad. All the private schools have interviews and opportunities for scholarships and bursary. Scholarships are offered for music, art, sports, chess, innovation, technology, and drama. So that hopefully gives you an overview with regards to the main differences between grammar and independent schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Gauri. That was quite to the point and very informative. Okay, next I would like to invite Abhiyogi, who is a founder of Sanatan Sanstha in UK, and he deal a lot with like stressful situation with the children's around Sutton and around London as well. So let's hear from him. Abhiyogi.
Thank you, Nimit, for having me. So I just wanted to give an alternate viewpoint to this from what I have discovered in this journey of mine. My child is also going through the 11+ preparation, and at the same time, I'm constantly approached by parents who wish to help their children with the stress they are developing because of this, and the kind of issues they get into. Sometimes parents putting too much pressure on them in other situations, and then the parents reach to me to help them de-stress. So what I would like to bring to the panel is that every child has their own destiny. You need to evaluate rightly that whether the time they are spending in doing this prep is something they can cope up to the pressure when they really get into a grammar school. And that's a call you have to take. And I think there is early feedback available from the school or from the classes they are doing. You get a lot of pointers to see whether this is the right path for your child. I'm not trying to say that you should discourage your child, but at the same time keep evaluate. The evaluation is the key here. And when you evaluate and you see that okay, you're trying to push a guy who can be a very good footballer and trying to push him into studies too much, then you're not doing justice to that person, to that child. Similarly, it's very important to understand that by doing these things, try to maintain a kind of a calendar or a timetable in which there are activities, not just studies, but something to de-stress themselves. So they should be allowed to given some regular time to watch some things they want to watch, or read some books which are out of their curriculum, which is what I tell to children who try to parents who try to reach to me, that that my child is studying, but he's lost interest into the book now, and he's now saying, I don't want to give 11+. So can you counsel him? Can you help him? And I said, well, the best thing is that we need to get them into a bit of meditation so that they can calm themselves up, make them understand that this is just a journey that, you have to try, but you're not, in control of the end results. So don't don't take it as as in a competition. Just take it as in your stride. Just go for it. And if you don't get success, then that doesn't mean that you failed somewhere. It's just that your destiny is destined somewhere else. You decide, you might be excelling in, say, something which is completely different from academics. And if you get into this grammar kind of a preparation, you get quite academic. So and the picture as well on the screen shows that you don't want your child to end up sad at the end of this journey. So it's very important to keep counseling them, help them maintain a regular balance in their day-to-day activities while they are doing preparation. Take them for some theme parks or something on a regular basis as well, which is what I advise, so that the fun of life should be also together with this journey, because it is very stressful for parents, it is very stressful for children. How do we manage that? So we make it more fun and easy in a way, in a cadence that you put your hard work, you do your best for your exams, and then there is enough time given by parents to relax. And I can see a lot of parents have started getting physical with their children, which is what I've got a lot of many children and parents talking. When I speak to the children, they give these kind of inputs that my father was beating me or my mother was beating me, which is incorrect behavior anyways. But this kind of behavior will not get you any results. It's all I'm trying to say is, probably you need to meditate as well, and the child needs to meditate as well, and do a bit of yoga or mindfulness or anything which helps you, maybe any puzzles or something. Just de-stress yourself and then go through the journey. It would be much easier outcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abhiyogi. Very insightful. Next, I would like to invite a proud parent, Tushar Gupta, who's got two kids in the grammar school, and he will share his journey through this process. So, Tushar.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm one of our parents like you. When we bought a house, we didn't know this 11+ saga. And then we realized we are actually in middle of two grammar schools. And though there's no nearby school which is good enough. So we had no option but to just prepare for it. And the perspective I'm bringing here is basically parent point of view of how I see this as a journey. So it is a hard work. Definitely, it is hard work, and a lot of taxi service, taking tuition. So the one thing you need to remember is that you are not alone in this, right? The parents doing it, So just when we were doing it, we were like, okay, what's going on in our life? But this is sort of whoever is preparing for it. If you're planning to go for it, this is what it is. You have to work hard. You have to do taxi service. You have to sit with your children to do homework. There are ups and downs. Yeah. Sometimes children, you cannot expect your child to be behaving in the same mode every time. You don't know what happens in school, right? Sometimes, some days he or she will be more productive, some days not so much. So you have to actually take it on a day-by-day basis. And to summarize in terms of what we have lost and what we have gained after my two kids have gone through this 11+ journey, what we have gained is, and this is what has come from when I was quite disappointed one of the days, and when my daughter didn't get very good result in one of the tests. So I spoke to one of my sort of mentor, and the mentor told me that why you're disappointed. Ultimately, whatever you're learning is going to continue, going to stay with your child forever, right? So you're not a loser. You are going to have, your child is gaining, right? Immaterial of the result, you and your child is a winner. So take it that way, and that will make it very positive in terms of how the journey continues, right? So very quickly, in terms of what we gained was we learned how to work hard. Our child learned how to work hard, how to be more organized, and basically be prepared for secondary school pressure, because secondary school is very different from primary school. A lot of homework. So in way, it is actually good. It prepared our child, and as I see that whatever you're learning, maths and English, you are all sorted for maths and English till almost year 8. You don't have to worry about it. and basically you learn more about your child, right? In this journey, you know more about your child, what your child is good at, right? So and in terms of losses, right? We do lose a lot of child's creativity time. My daughter has been fond of a lot of drawings and painting, and all of that was curtailed because of 11 plus preparation. Then we lose family time. One child is watching television, other child is studying, and all those things. And there's always a guilt in a parent that you're pushing your child too much. So which guilt, which is basically is in back of your mind, and is something we need to realize that, okay, we're just giving our best here. Okay. And is it worth it, right? So depending on your situation, say for example, we were in just middle of a 11 plus area, so grammar school area. So we had no choice, but you have to look at your situation. You think you can manage your work and preparation, because it is not only your tuition, right? Your parents have to get involved. It's become so competitive that you have to be involved and see what your child is doing. And if you know upfront that it's not going to work for your child, then you have to also take a decision now. And if you have good state tools around you, why not? And one thing I wanted to mention is, if you have already decided on private schools, we didn't try for it, but there is test. So private schools do have tests, so you still have to prepare for it. But ultimately, try to take this as a journey where no one is a loser. It's all, both of you are winner. Okay, that's it from me. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Nimit.
Sorry, I was on mute, but yeah, Bindu, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Nimit. Hello, everyone. It's lovely to be here. So just like you, I'm a parent of 2 boys, 21 and 15, who went through the 11 plus journey. And today I have an agenda where I'd like to share with you the factors contributing to the psychological impact of 11 plus exams and the long-term impact on the child's development. I'm a mental health expert, and I love to share how it is going to impact your child. So what are the factors contributing to the psychological impact? Psychological impact refers to any events, situations, or experiences that could impact the child's emotional and mental well-being. So the psychological impact could be the thoughts, feelings, and emotion that has a huge impact on their overall development. The factors that actually contribute the psychological impact are competition, fear of failure, parental expectations, social comparison, limited focus on well-being, fatigue, and burnout. And also, it impacts your future opportunities. So, moving on to the next slide. So what is the long-term impact on child's development? 11 plus exams do have positives as well as negatives. So bringing in light of what's positive and negative, it has an impact on the academic identity. A child who succeeded 11 plus exams obviously are more confident and competent, whereas somebody who could not succeed 11 plus exam has a negative perception towards education. And psychological well-being, in a positive attitude, resilience is something that's becomes the part of the 11 plus journey. But it also has its negative, where the child who could not succeed or did not go through the exams could have a potential long-term mental health issues. This could lead to depression, perfectionism, burnout, and loss of future opportunities. That is something very important to note as a parent. And social relationship development and peer dynamics. This could be, there's a lot of impact on the relationship of the parents and the peers. On positive note, it is positive social connection because they have developed that confidence and competence. However, somebody who could not get through the exams has a potential impact on the social dynamics. This could lead to bullying, isolation, and it could also lead to many other future mental health issues that might not show up right now, but as they grow up as an adult, this could actually impact as an adult. So these are something that needs to be considered as a parent. What is best for you is something as a parent that needs to be decided based on how the child is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bindu. I think I would agree on this part that psychological aspect is the most neglected part in this whole journey, which leaves scars. And I'm sure we have a lot of questions around that. Now, our last panelist of the day, Mr. Hitesh Gupta, who is a social entrepreneur and activist. He's a founder of Indian Diaspora in UK. He runs a couple of technology companies, and I'll let him to talk about his thought process around the 11 plus. So,
thank you, Nimit. And most of the panelists already covered lots of aspects of the 11 plus journey. So before I begin about when being a parent governor, being a parent, and being a normal, common human being, there are few parents are totally favor of the 11 plus and the grammar school, few are against. But before I go in detail on that one thing I want to say, you know your child best, okay? And as Abhi also mentioned, if your child, you see the capability, yes, he can do the academically, he can pursue, then only try for it, because it's a big commitment, not only for the child, for the entire family. You have to spend hours and hours and hours, not only for duration, it's for the years, at least 2 years. If you want to prepare for 11 plus, because the journey begins when your child in year 4. Then you have to start preparing them. And when he's coming in year 6, at the beginning of the year 6, that's where the exam takes place in the September. Now, if I go in the detail of this one, few parents talk about in favor of it. And I'm also agree on both the side of things, right? So in favor means is grammar school is good? Yes, definitely they are good because they are well funded. They provide the high academic standards and there's rigorous and courseware which can be covered in that duration till 6th form, right? So it's few of the grammar school are till year 11 and few are year 13. So again, when your child is getting admission in the 11 plus, doesn't mean he's coming out as a product and it go directly for the university. This journey doesn't stop at the 11 plus because there's always competition. So after 11 plus, then you have year 13 GCSE, and after GCSE, then A levels, right? So this entire thing, and you become more and more competitive because the child who are coming in the grammar school, they are well refined product, you can say, because they are already coming out from the competition, right? So there are lots of things to be done there. Then I'll cover all the topic in the favor, right? Then meritocracy means that basically it promotes the healthy competition, the high quality standard in the education. And it doesn't matter what's your background is, basically. It's all about your skills, the born talent, you got it, right? So the grammar school definitely focus on that one and take your child to the next level. And if your child is good in the particular subject or particular sport, few of the grammar school is very good in the sport side, few are on the education side, few are on the art side. And I live in Slough, right? There are 4 grammar school, and I can see they all are in the different kind of things, right? So and choosing the grammar school is one of the aspects you need to think through before you are applying for that. Parental choice, yeah. The few the parents are very much academic. If I'll talk about the Indian parents, they are very much into detail of this. So this is also, they want to give the best education for their child. So grammar school is one thing because it's free. You don't have to pay for it. If you're going for the high standard education, the private school, independent school are also choice, but it's comes with the hefty money. And that is also comes with that you have to have some scholarship or some kind of thing, some extra talent, then only you can get admission into that. competition. So I'll take is the competition is the healthy competition here, right? So you are competing with a very skilled child, right? It's not a competition you are defeating to somebody. It's like healthy competition, and both are winning in that competition. Yeah. And the last one is the parental satisfaction, right? So it's few of the parents, especially I'll talk about the Indian parent mindset, they feel, oh, my child goes to the grammar school. This provides lots and lots of satisfaction to them, right? And so these kind of things also, it's kind of a, it's kind of ego satisfying also for the few parents, and sometimes it's good negative also for the few. Yeah. And if I talk about the against, there are many parents who are totally against of the grammar school concept. And if I'll talk about in England, if you look at the Yorkshire County, they have finished, there's no grammar school in the Yorkshire County. If you can find, because they were providing lots and lots of dissatisfaction for the parents, for the child. It was lots of mental illness issues. So that's why they have stopped entire journey. So this was talk is going on. Do the grammar school should exist, or it should be just removed? Yeah. Other one is the stress and pressures. It provides lots and lots of mental pressure for the child as well as the parents, and that result into lots of illness and lots of distress, as Binduji already explained in quite detail. So I'll not go in detail. Parents also argue about that there are the selection of bias, basically in terms of that few parents say, oh, this funding should be equal, whether it's a grammar school or is a non-grammar school or a state school, it should be something. So the selection bias is also there, and which impacts few of the parents. And one important thing is here in the grammar school, you will not find a child who is academically is not good, because those all are coming with a healthy competition, right? So in going into the state school and all this, the kind of network their kids are getting, that is one important thing. This is, I'm not discriminating here, but the child who is very low earning job also, and they are not having very healthy circle around, but they are also getting those kind of schools. So it's very important for parents to look at what kind of school they are looking at, and the circle they are getting, because the surrounding impacts a lot for the kids, a lot, right? So we need to be very, very mindful for that as well. Lack of inclusivity, that basically come to the point where many things are not covered into the state school, like in grammar school or independent school, you get lots of choices, right? And that get inclusive, let's say the second language, what you want, but the state school just follow the set pattern, and that's what you have to, everybody has to follow, and you will not get the special treatment also. Few state schools are exceptional, and yes, you can focus on those one. Reduction in the comprehensiveness of education. So these few parents diverting the resource away from different school to yes. So lots of things that parents talk about that state school or comprehensive school are not good at it's compared to the grammar school. So that's why the parents put lots of effort. So this is overall my understanding based on that I put together. Thank you.
Thank you, Hridesh. With this, we came to an end with the panelists, and now we'll proceed with question and answers and the panel discussion. So just to sort of summarize the insights from various panelists from various areas, as we know, there are merits to it, there are demerits to it. And as the starting mic said, be careful what you wish for. I think that's the key message here, that do not be jumping into something which is a mindless race, which we all see it. Again, it's not a discouragement from any angle. It's a very pragmatic approach, as the scholars here, the parents and the experience holders are saying, because institutionally speaking, and I think few of the people who are influencing in politics would agree with this, that this system perhaps needed to be strategically looked at and revised. If not removed, revised, because that's the need of the hour. Because in my personal opinion, this is going over the control now. The where it's literally been flooding badly, and at the end of the day, and as few of our specialists are saying, look, you have 10-year-old kids. Yeah, and we're talking about psychological issues. We are facing them. That's not the price you want to pay for 11 plus school, right? So that is the sort of the heart of it. Now, I'm going to come to the questions now. So I'm sure the chat is open. And yes, so there are a lot of questions coming in through, which I'll look at, but we pre-qualified a lot of questions. I mean, we had a lot of registrations for this webinar, and a lot of people have put a lot of questions. So I'm going to just go through a few questions which were listed, and I'll ask the panelists to sort of give the insights to it. The first and the foremost, right, which I think was covered from various panelists, about the stress, the anxiety, that it's very excruciating journey. What do we do to minimize it? That's I think is the frequently asked question. So just to answer that, and I will ask panelists to add into it. I mean, as Traptiji also said, you have to balance it out. E is equal to MC square. You have to balance it out, and most of the time, parents, they just sacrifice a lot of other things. And if you do not balance it out, you're gonna end up, it's like a motor, right? If you're gonna overdo it, it's gonna burn out. So you have to add in a lot of activities. Now, that's my take. I would like to throw this question to the panelists, that what does the balancing of the equation? So we are going through 11 plus journey. It's excruciating. What is the right balance around without breaking any social stigma and everything? Because if you start partying, all of a sudden your friends will think, oh, hang on a second, this 11 plus is over already. Things like that. So any recommendations from the panelists around what is the balance when you're talking about studies as well as the extracurricular or the other activities to de-stress yourself?
Yeah, I would like to add to that, Nimit, answer that question. And please, if anybody else wants to add as well, feel free. Regarding the preparation, I would say actually to start off in year 4. Lots of parents contact me as well, in year 2, year 3, and I think it's quite early. It's too early for the child. And if you start too early, I think they burn out quite fast as well. So it's better to start, just let them relax, have sort of fun learning, maybe reading out to them, doing a little bit of vocabulary, but encouraging them to read and develop their general academic skills until sort of year 3, then start off in year 4 slowly. But again, sort of balance it out so that they have other activities as well. And then, once they gradually go into year 5, then I would say a little bit more serious. And again, some parents continue some activities, but balance it so that, they can do the amount of work that is required if you want to go down that route. And then towards the end, like over the last 6 months, then you might want to relook at the other extracurriculars and how that affects them, because sometimes it's not fair for them to perform at a high standard while doing lots of other things. So, maybe reducing activities towards the last 6 months. That's how I would think it's appropriate for children to sort of cope with the pressures and also have a outlet to do other things.
Thank you, Gauri. Anyone else like to add anything?
And of course, sorry, I just want to add also a meditation. So Bindu and I actually do a lot of sessions, and we have, Bindu also runs lots of 11 plus meditation sessions. So that really helps as well. So towards the exams, like we do lots of regular sessions, so that really de-stresses the children. So that really helps.
So just on that note, so of course, most of the participants here, you should have gotten an email for this invite because there's no public. So if you want to have any questions or you want to get in touch with any of the panelists, do reply. And I would request the panelists to leave out their contact details in the chat as well, because I'm sure there's plenty of stuff to cover, which I'm sure from psychology to education to everything needs to be. So, so please leave your contacts there. I'll move to the next question. So question, if most of the grammar school offset is good, then what is the fuss about? Can I ask Mike to answer on that?
Yes, certainly. I guess that I suppose there's a kind of question where that comes from. It obviously in Ofsted you can go up to outstanding with schools, and good is kind of an average, and most secondary schools are of good level. What I would say is Ofsted measures very specifically about against a set of standards for Ofsted. Often that's looking at value add for pupils rather than necessarily end results in terms of outcomes. There's a large audit compliant. Is the school operating the correct way? Is it doing the best with the cohort of pupils it's got? Whereas a grammar school, typically, you know the cohort of pupils are of a very high capability because it is they've been selected and passed academic rigor to be there. So you are going to get that much more from a grammar school. As a number of people have mentioned already, grammar schools are always going to perform higher by the selection, and of course their entire focus is academic. Ofsted is an important measure of a school. It's important to give you an idea of how the school's doing in a range of areas. But I would say it's not if you're looking at grammar schools versus comprehensives, and obviously there's an academic bent, Ofsted isn't necessarily the right measure for that.
Ofsted is not the right measure, or is the right measure? Sorry,
it is not, because Ofsted has a far wider remit than just a straightforward academic achievement guide.
Right, I see. I think there was a lot of questions. Probably covered a lot, Mike, in there, because there were questions around grammar versus comprehensive schools and Ofsted rating, as we started with. But it does make sense. I just want to add just a connecting question to it. So there was a question about difference between the grammar, the state, and the private school, and what one offers and what other doesn't offer, in your opinion.
Yeah, I think, and again, I know some of this has already been covered, and there's a personal opinion.
Probably focus on the private part, I would say, because I think Gauri covered the private, and probably the grammar and the state school. I think if we can do a comparison there, maybe.
Certainly. I mean, in essence, all schools these days are driven by getting results for pupils. And I, as someone that went to the schools in and around this area as a child, and are now involved in them, schools are much better than they were when I was at school in the 80s or so. So they are, a lot's good in any of the schools. The challenge you have is a comprehensive school is trying to be comprehensive. It's trying to cover for everyone. It's not necessarily focused on any one particular group of people, whereas a grammar is very much looking at high achieving academics. And therefore, it doesn't have that direct focus. Comprehensive schools may focus on other things. They may generally, though they are more a case of serving a local community. Warts and all, any community comes with sort of good and bad. You may find pupils get a slightly less pressurized education. And one of the panelists said, apologies, I forget who it was, about what's right for them. What your child, what's right for your child. And I think that's a large part of what comes into play here. I know, friends and family, when they've selected schools, and few of them have gone down the grammar route, but they've looked at local schools and said, actually, that's a better school, but my child will be lost there. I want them to go here, or vice versa. And that's a really important part of it, is what's right for your child, and you can make that pick. But they are comprehensives and grammar schools select different things. Just one quick thing I would add to that is I'm often conscious that I suspect a lot of people that will go through grammar schools, and this is not the entire measure for life, but will have very good professional jobs, good educations. They might not earn as much as the plumber that comes round, or the electrician, or and if anyone's trying to get a build out, you know how expensive that is. That's not the only measure in life by a long, long way. But it is, I think, an important thing to understand that what's right for one isn't right for everyone. Yeah. And actually, a life through academic achievement is not the only way forward. It's useful, it's very useful. But I'm often chairing meetings where I'm the least qualified person in the room. Is that a problem? Not for me. You know, so you know there is a horses for courses element.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Then I'll just add to one thing, the stereotypeness around it. I mean, as we see the audience even here, and most of if you see the heavy influence of the Asian diaspora focusing on the 11 plus, and the diaspora come from a place where we had only given choices, being engineer or being doctor, to live a decent life, let's say. Now, you well spotted that in the country we are in, you have choice of options. And I think it becomes very important to understand that what a kid is like and what is important for them, because effectively, if they do well, they will be all right anyway. So definitely very, very insightful. There is a question that where do we start if my child is not clear? Who wants to pick that up?
I can pick it up, Amit, this one. Okay. Sure. So, see, we always, before we are preparing for the 11 plus, right, we should always prepare for the options, just in case if the exam not go through, right? So when you are preparing, you should be option. So you have a 3 options, as everybody said that. One is the state. In the state also, they have a very good schools also, a comprehensive school, right? Then grammar school and then independent school. So when you are preparing for it, just plan with your option. Option A is always grammar school if you are preparing, your child is capable. If not, then option B is independent school, but it comes with a price. So you should be ready for that. Yes, you can afford that. And option C is you are in the good catchment area of a comprehensive school. That is very, very important. And many parents miss out that one. So before you are preparing or applying for your place, make sure if you can relocate and try to be in the area of the catchment of a good comprehensive school. So if your child is not getting through the grammar school, then at least he or she can get into that catchment area and that school.
Excellent. Thank you, Hridesh.
Nimit?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd just like to very strongly add here that the question of exam or not exam, yeah, the question of 11 plus or 12 plus or whatever, and for the parents, there is this whole strand of parents thinking that we do not want to give stress to our children, but they forget one thing: unless you challenge yourself, unless you challenge the children themselves, understand to challenge themselves, you would not go a step further. Because when you are studying, I'll just give you my example. And it's example that during school holidays, we will cover math, science, and a couple of other subjects. Then during school time, we will have languages and other things and extracurricular activities. Yeah. So you imagine at the age of 16 or something, having a yoga teacher's certificate, doing Bharatanatyam, doing music. But that is only if you challenge yourself. If the parents think that I want my child to be an engineer or a doctor or whatever, that is not going to work. However, you are not going to, there is a phrase in English which is mollycoddle. And this is what I have seen in many parents when they come to me. And when they say that, oh, my child is not listening to me in any studies or whatever, it's the way the parents should be trained as well. And if parents have a problem, we should deal with that as well in education, because many a times you find that, see what Michael said, the government have a schemes on apprenticeship, yeah, in like HNCs, there is apprenticeship for all the practical work. There's plenty of jobs on from car manufacturing to any other industry. And as you know, some years back, we produced a booklet called Working with Hindu Ethos. And we can share, I'll share the link with you, Nimit, some time ago. But we strongly believe from the days of what the message Sri Krishna gave us to now, to modern times, is that we have to be a part of the society and children have to grow up being part of the society and take that pressure. Taking pressure is also part of the education. Thank you.
Thank you, Truptiji. I do agree on that part, that yes, you have to taste the waters and you work out the abilities. And that's true in all sense. I think here, the challenge we have even as a community, that this pressure is becoming there has to be limits. And I think maybe there must be some type of, what you call them, tidying up is required. But anyways, thank you for the inputs. We are towards the closure. We'll pick up a few more questions if we have a bit of more bandwidth. Someone actually posted on the chat, like, it's spreading like a virus. Very interesting comment. And which is right. I mean, it is like a virus. It picks up, people talk to people, especially ladies, and then it's like buying an iPhone thing, right? You need to have a latest iPhone before the other one gets off. And how do we stop it? Well, there is no end to it. I take it. The other question we had is about the catchment issue. I know Hitesh has touched a little bit about it. So anyone like to touch a little bit more around the catchment? Because we have schools which actually take the catchment, and we have schools which does not take the catchment. As anyone wants to talk a little bit about the catchment and the selection procedures?
Yeah, I can mention about catchment. So in terms of boys' schools, lots of parents ask this question. So there are a number of boys' schools who do not have catchment, like Wilson, Queen Elizabeth, and also St. Olive's. They do not have catchment. But there are some schools who have catchment, and so it's better to check the radius in terms of what they require and their criteria. In terms of girls' schools, for example, Sutton, the catchment is 5.25 kilometers. And Tiffin is another school, Tiffin boys as well as Tiffin girls. They are quite big on catchment. So, for example, Tiffin, the boys' school, you have to be within like 10 kilometers from the door-to-door distance. That's the catchment. And also girls, they have specific postcodes. So it's always best when you're deciding to move house, or when you're choosing where to live, to check whether you're in certain catchments. For example, there are certain postcodes, if you choose wisely, for example, SM40, and also some T postcodes, I think 1 and 2, they have actually both Tiffin as well as Sutton catchment. So some parents are not aware, and then they choose certain postcodes. So it always is wise to choose based on the catchments and where you live. But there are a number of schools which are not having catchments, so do consider those as well.
Excellent. I would like to do a little open fire rounds now. I'm going to open this to the audience. If anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask the question, because I think we summarized, trust me, there are hundreds of questions, but they're more or less same. And let's hear from the live audience who we have here, see what they have to say. So please raise your hands, and I'm going to unmute you, and you can ask a question to the panelist. Abhi, okay. Abhi, you are... yeah, go ahead. Can we hear you? Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for this, Nimit. This was a good session, and thanks to all the panelists. One quick question is, good starts given by Mike there. He said around 100,000 students actually apply for grammar schools, and only 15,000 actually get the desired seat. And the point is, I just did a quick search on Google, and it says around 600,000 babies are born every year in England and Wales, which means around 16 to 17% of the population, or the student population, is interested in all this. Whereas available seats are 15,000. So should we actually not be having more grammar schools around? And is there any way we could actually make this case, or collectively actually ask for?
I'm going to take that, and I think maybe Mike and maybe Hitesh may have inputs to it. Abhi, the problem we have is not only having enough grammar schools. I've moved from my area because the flats were building up, and there are no increment in normal schools as well as the hospitals. So when you bring the public in, let's say if there are 2,000 residents living in the area, building flats, they're going to be 500 more by, building extra schools. So forget the grammar schools, even for the schools, there are challenge. And then whether should we build extra grammar schools? That's a big question mark for me. I'll leave this to some political activists here, Michael and Hridesh, you want to pick this up? And we have Mukesh Rao as well, who is quite into politics in certain areas. So please feel free to add on, Mukesh.
I can briefly quickly. What should have happened? People should have voted for me because I still have a manifesto that included introducing more grammar schools. But there we go. There's not, frankly, a great deal of political will to go down the grammar school route, whether we like it or not. What I would say is the very nature of it. Grammar schools are selective. They are places of academic excellence. Therefore, there should always be and will always be far more people applying for them than there are places. So I suspect if you double the number of places, you may double the number of people trying to go to them. So there is I think it's a bit of a misnomer. There will always be, there should always be fewer grammar school places than people that want to go to them. Politically, I'd love to see a campaign get going for there to be more, because there should be more. They're not evenly distributed around the country. They're clustered in a few places. It's not a great system, but I don't think there's a great deal. Pass over to anyone else.
Yeah, I want to add one thing. This is the question, exactly same question I asked with Rishi Sunak, our Honorable Prime Minister, during his leadership campaign. Rishi, do you have any plan to have more grammar school? And his response was, why only grammar school? He want to upgrade everything at this state school to bring to the next level. So not everybody is running for the grammar school. So that's what his comment was at that point of time. He was giving the example of like in states, this education is quite high standard and everybody is being done, providing the laptop and from the lower class and just everything is being done. So that's what his aim. But I know country is going through with a different kind of challenges. So he's focused on that one. That's why it's not on the radar, but definitely if he continues, then this is his vision.
Thank you. I have a few more questions, hands straight up here. I'm going to put Arpana on spot. Arpana, you have a question. Please feel free to ask your question.
Thanks, Nimit, and thank you, everyone. This is definitely insightful. So just a quick background that my son goes to one of the grammar schools, but my daughter just appeared for this particular journey of going through the grammar schools. One thing I found out when actually you take your kids for mock tests or even the real tests, a majority of the population is Asian. Now, I struggle to understand how in the real world our child will then cope with different ethnicities and how this is going to pan out, because obviously they are going to be here with not just Asians who are hardworking, or I'm not here excluding other ethnicities, but I am at the same time mindful that my child would not get the exposure I would normally see in the real world, in the professional life. How do we understand this, and what any of your expertise or your outlook on this is?
Nimit, I would like to take that. Just want to tell all of you that in 1977, when I came here with a degree in engineering, you can understand and appreciate a woman engineer and in the society where it's all white, and there were only 12 women engineers in the country. So you need not fear, because now we have considerable numbers of professionals of Indian origin here. We have numbers of professionals with the non-white skin, and if we succeeded, my generation succeeded, then the younger generation even got more chances, really. Now, how you treat, like I say to you, we believe in Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, or we believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, but what you got to make sure is that you got your identity. You do not let people give you another name because so many people wanted to call me Trudy, so Trudy, whatever they wanted to call me. I insisted that I am Trupti Patel and I am going to stay as Trupti. So simple little things, your identity have to be quite strong. If you instill that into your child's identity, that Pramesh Patel or Nimit Sisodia is Nimit Sisodia. It's not going to be changed as any other English names. Second thing is that what you gain, your skills, you always have to have confidence in your skills. And if you haven't got it, do your quality management, do your CPDs, do whatever is necessary in your business, but do it. That way, you can always stay on par with everybody. And psychologically, if you need help, get help, but get your child to understand that we all are souls coming from Paramatma, and everybody's equal, everybody's same. If we do this, then no problem. Thank you.
Right. I'll add to this a bit. So fair point, Apna. So the multiculturalism of it, and if let's say, I hate to say this, but if a lot of Asians are biased to the grammar schoolness, and I'll tell you, I personally think why it is. There are two reasons why someone is inclined to do something. One is it's motivated enough to do something, or second is the fear. What I found amongst the Asian communities, me coming from one, of course, is there is an institutional fear being injected. Oh, if my son does not go to a grammar school because there is a cream of the kids are coming up there, then he may go to a school where he may be subject to XYZ, which we don't want to be. That is a driver I've seen. And that fear drives them, you know what, well, you know, we want to be like this. Now, how right or wrong it is, not sure. Then to your point that if you go in a grammar school and if you're finding, okay, let's be crude, you're finding a grammar school full of Indians, then what is the multiculturalism? Well, I mean, I think your question have the answer itself. There is none. And then perhaps, again, I think we are here today to sort of not try to justify grammar. And I think there are a lot of wrongdoings around grammar schools, if it's my personal opinion, right from the start, right from the beginning of year 4. Not only that, I heard there is a year 2 classes happening. You got to be kidding me. A kid's going to get born and you're going to actually get into, and this is an excruciating journey. You can't have a 9 years, 10 years old kid going through this journey 3 days a week, on the weekend studying where they should be playing. You know, my 10-year-old, what he said to me, he said, I miss I miss the old me, you know, where I used to be idiotic, I used to play. And you know what, this hurt it to me, to the core, right? And other thing I'll add on to this, just from a psychological aspect, and what motivated me to come here was, my 10-year-old once said to me, I just asking him to go, you know, there was one exam, why don't you just give the exam for the giving sake? What's there to lose? You know what his response was? His response was, Dad, there is to lose. There is hope to lose. There is faith to lose. This is 10-year-old talking. You know, what are we making out of these kids? So, you know, there has to be and to the same point, as you said, right? Okay, well, let's keep the race one side. I mean, what they're going to get when they get there. Certainly there is no multiculturalism or lack of it, because the problem is you get into that. And I think Hridesh mentioned that point. Once when you get into the grammar school, then you face that fear competition amongst those top brains, if you call it, that it becomes much more challenging, right? So there are certainly very strong demerits around. So I'll reflect back to the point where we started this. Our first panelist agenda was, be mindful or be careful of what you wish for. And that is, I think, the bottom line here, because, you know, we have to be very open, our eyes upon, okay, you know, and the key is we are in a country where you have freedom of choice. You know, you can choose good for you, you can choose good for your kids. And that's the key. If you cannot, then, I mean, we are fundamentally failing as a parent to start with. So my personal opinion here is like, find out what your kid is good at to start with, you know, and nurture that. And as Mike well said that, and I 100% support that, if a plumber comes to your house, he's probably going to earn more than an academic who's down there doing like that 9-to-5 job. That is true, because we are in a country where socioeconomic, you know, has, you know, and you have a freedom to choose what you want to do, what you want to be, but be the best, and you can still earn. So That's my take. But anything else, please add on.
Thanks, Nimit. I think your thoughts are consistent with how I feel as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Okay, we got, I'm just going through the sort of alphabetical order. So see, there are a few hands raised here. So we got Nikhil here. Nikhil, can I put you on spotlight? So if you want to raise your question.
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. So it was a quite simple question, actually, because I joined it quite late. So the only question I had was, we were talking about the areas where you need to take the houses and buy the houses and all that stuff. So I was wondering if there is any kind of website or anything like that which will tell us which schools have those restrictions and which schools don't have the restriction, or do we have to go through each schools and understand the policies of the admission?
Shall I take this one? Yeah. So yes, you have to go each individual school's website, because few schools have the consortium. So if you look at a Slough, the fourth grammar school, and there's all one single exam for the fourth grammar school, right? So, but after that also, every school having their catchment and their other things. So let's say Upton Court doesn't have any catchment. So across UK, anybody can apply, and that they get admission based on the merit. Then you got Langley Grammar. They got very restricted catchment. So 1 mile and 2 mile kind of thing, right? And it get full by then. Then third one, you got the St. Bernard. St. Bernard is the faith school. So unless until you are following that particular religion, you will not get the admission. And there are some open category, but there are rare chance to get an admission. And the fourth one is the Herschel Grammar, which got the catchment of 4 miles. And beyond that is open for everybody. So every school you have to go. So first you need to decide your child is capable and you want to pursue for that one, and then look for the area and then plan for it, because you have to plan the journey quite ahead in the time. Year 4 is the right time where you can decide all these things.
Maybe for this year, Hitesh, maybe in 2 years' time, you will say year 2 is the right time. Where this is going. But anyway, thanks for the insight. Really appreciate that. Let's move to the next question here. Sindhu Jan. Sindhu, do you want to speak up? And
Hi, Nimit. Thank you, everyone. I have a very specific question. So we live in an outside of catchment area. And as a parent, I'm in a two state of mind, whether to move into the catchment area or not to move in the catchment area without knowing the end results. So what would you suggest to a parent who are in this dilemma? And to extend, many parents can't afford the houses into the catchment area of a good grammar school because the prices of the house is also inflected, right? So you have to also understand the current cost of living and the dilemma of buying a house to an area where the house prices are so high. So what would you suggest to a parent who are not in a catchment area? Thank you.
I can take that. So yeah, there are a number of schools who give places to out of catchment students as well. So I think it's best is to first identify which schools you're interested in. And then if they do have allocation for out of catchment, then when you do your CAF form, which is by the 31st of October, you can then give your priority, first preference, second preference, and so on. And also, other thing I would say is to look at the comprehensive schools in your area, wherever you're living, and see, because surprisingly, you would see that even schools like, for example, in Sutton, you'd see, grammar schools like Nonsuch and Wallington for girls. And you'd see another school like Rosebery, which is actually on par with the GCSE results, as on par with Nonsuch. So there are lots of other state schools and comprehensive schools which are really good as well. So definitely look at those options. Like another example is Greenshaw, actually has performed even better than Wallington County Grammar at the GCSE level. So do look at other information. The government website has I think it's Attainment 8, so you can go in and check what they have achieved for GCSE results as well as A-level results. And based on that, then you can choose, whether it's actually worth moving house to go to a grammar school, or whether it's actually, it's fine to go to a comprehensive school closer to your house. And then you can decide and then put it on the CAF form as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. We are overrunning the time. I've got one last, actually maybe two last. Mukesh Raoji, do you want to speak up? Mr. Mukesh?
Yeah, thank you. One question. How many people who are attending over here are from grammar school pass outs? Exactly. Don't get hung up on it.
I'm partially there, I would say. So, well, we've got tutors here. That's very, I would say maybe the pass outs doesn't need to be even here.
Yeah, that's the point. It's not about that thing. There are so many things that came in. Somebody just spoke about buying a property in the area. So it's not about that you're just spending for the tuition fees and doing the taxi service. You are landing yourself into debt also. There are so many things that need to be considered. Is it financially wise? So think about it from a very different angle. You go and put in about 100,000 somewhere else, probably it will be worth a property when they grow up. So that's my take. Anyway, I'll shut up for now. Thank you anyway for giving me the chance to talk.
Avanti Rastogi Jaiswal, do you want to speak up? Seems you have a question.
Hi everybody. Yeah, so basically this goes out to Hirdesh or anybody who can answer from the panel. I did question when you fill out the form. So I am preparing my kid for grammar and it's a stress. So if I choose grammar as a first option, definitely if I'm preparing him. Second is independent school if you're financially strong as a second option. Third is a comprehensive school because you said comprehensive school is at par with grammar school, as good as them. What if my kid doesn't go through grammar school, doesn't pass? Obviously, independent school, I had given a choice, but my financial situation changed and I can't afford. Thirdly, comprehensive school, I chose as a third option, and I don't get through that school also in my catchment. Then the fourth choice, I will never be given a choice for a state school, and my son can be given any state school, which is out of my area, far from my house. So my question is, what's the best choices to give as first, second, and third? When I see comprehensive schools are good as grammar, I want to choose now comprehensive as my choice, which I was never aware of, which I just got to know from the chats and you all.
I just want to clarify a few things. There's a bit of confusion here. So when you are filling your CAF form, that form you will be given choice to apply for the grammar school and the state school. And basically, in state schools, when I'm saying it include the comprehensive school. So for independent school, you don't have to give the choice. And the grammar school also, again, you have to give the choice 1, 2, 3. So different catchment, different counties provide different kind of choices. So in Slough, you will get the choice for fill the top 6 choices of yours. And based on your kids getting married, and based on that, they will give the school. Certain, I am not aware of what kind of, how many choices you will get, 4 or 6. So it all depends on you, what you do. It doesn't mean that if your child is getting the state school, oh, his career is spoiled. No, if child is having the capabilities, then he can earn much more than the grammar school or the kids who are going the top university as well. Right. So it all depends on your child and your personal belief as well. So if you are giving the right education to the kid, and doesn't matter, if you look at lots of examples we have in this world. So
thank you so much. That was helpful. Thank you.
Can I just add to that? Because again, while filling in the CAF form, a lot of parents get a bit confused in terms of which order to put the schools in. Always go with your first preference, especially if you're prepared them for grammar school. Put that preference if you feel that's your first choice, and then go to your second choice and third choice and so on. Because even if they don't get into the first school, you'll automatically be taken in to be looked at for the second choice, and then you might be put on a waiting list for the first choice. So don't discount any school that way. Just don't say, oh, my child has done well, or I'm likely to get one, or not likely to get one. But just go on based on your preference. because the schools don't really get to know, what your first preference, second preference is. So if you don't get your first one, you will be put on a waiting list. So that's the advice we always give parents.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'll just share one side. There was a panelist which was supposed to join, but she couldn't. Her son, she worked really hard, and they live in Sutton. They couldn't make to grammar school. Of course, they were disheartened and all, but they pushed back. They applied for a local school here, College Glenthorne. There is some banding exam, but because of catchment, they made to the school. Now, the guy was excelling in this school. He's got an A plus 9 A's, which is sort of extraordinary, I understand. He was excelling in that school, and he loved the school. Then after that, he made the offers to Wilson's and Wallingtons. They all called him up, but they rejected it because they were just so happy in that school. So ultimately, I mean, you could be a small fish in a big pond, or you could be a big fish in a small pond. So the choice remains yours. And I'll just add one more thing. See, the important thing is, which Tushar, who left, he mentioned one thing, that if you learn about your child in this journey, that is the key takeaway. I mean, I always say that results are important, destination is important, but in my personal opinion, in 11 plus, journey is more important. Because if your journey is right, if you're connecting well to the kid and you're understanding them, the bond you're going to make, and the more you understand your child, and you can answer this question that, oh, now I understand my child, he's really good in arts, Is grammar school really school for him? I should actually send him to, because he's really good in arts. That's what the parents, what kids want to have, not the one which are pushing, well, I don't like arts, but I want to push you to do the arts. Come on, we have to ask. I think this webinar is all about, asking those fundamental intellectual questions to us, as in when given the choices of the land we are in, and do we still have to go, monocratically? So to your question, I would only say, learn about your child, what he's about, and then, favor him or her in that. I think we have to close off, but we can probably take one or two.
Nimit, I'll just add, like I said before, have a confidence in you and your child. Wherever you study, like that Mukesh ji asked the question, we all have studied in not these posh schools. We haven't gone to convent schools or anywhere else, but we excel. And we are all here, like Nimit said, with the good opportunities. So it's not the school. End of the day is your child and you, and how you instill that confidence in both of you. Thank you very much. I have to leave, but thank you very much for making me part of this seminar. Thank you, Nimit.
Thank you very much. And I think we should probably be closing off because it's getting 7:30. But feel free to drop your question in the chat or email us. You have contact numbers now. You can reach out. And I think this was a great success. I'm sure everyone have a lot of different insights. We may arrange another one depending upon how things are. But again, I fully thank to the panelists who took time and efforts to put this together to make us a grand success. And I'm sure this was very, very valuable to a lot of members and participants here, gaining a lot of meaningful insights in this. So thank you very much, and have a good evening, everyone. I will share the recording shortly in the groups. Just watch out your social channels. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.